Now, how does Hugh Hefner's Playboy mansion compare to sleeping in a tent? Well, one model, Louise Glover, who spent time in the notorious mansion in Los Angeles, might be able to tell us. She's appeared on the cover of Playboy Vixens and in 2006 became the first British model and the only one, I believe, to be crowned Model of the Year in Playboy's special editions. But times are very different now, and Louise has had to move out of a share flat in Windsor and traded in for a tent full-time, as soaring rent has made it impossible to stay in the property. And Louise Glover very bravely joins me now in the studio. Welcome to the show. Now, you said you're a bit nervous. Please don't, please don't be.
I've never done live TV.
Well, don't worry about that. I edited Loaded magazine back in the day, and you came to our 10th birthday party. In fact, you're in Loaded magazine a lot back in the day. You're a very, very successful and very, very popular model. Let's start with the Los Angeles years, an extraordinary thing for anybody to have experienced. And you not only were living in the mansion with Hugh Hefner, the infamous Lothario, you were crowned one of the girls of the year. Tell us about those times.
Well, you know, it's kind of all over now, isn't it? And it's a shame, but I look back on it and I think I had such an incredible time. And I really did live that life. And, you know, from being 9 years old, I always wanted to be a model. So at 21 years old, I'm stood with Hugh Hefner, holding the front cover of a magazine that I'm on, Playboy. And that was the first time I met him. He already chose me to be that Model of the Year. And I was told no one's ever won this out of the USA, this magazine cover shoot, and then obviously the Model of the Year. And I was just like, when I was told by the photographer that I'd won it, even he was shocked. Not shocked that I couldn't have won it, but shocked because no one's won it outside the USA. And I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. Yeah. And then the next minute they actually flown over to London, and we shot with the London Eye in the background. Yeah. So it's quite an iconic shoot to do my cover of the Playboy magazine. So. And
you moved into the mansion for a while. Hugh called you the British Carmen Electra. You were one of his favourites, and it's renowned for its parties, of course. Over there, you must have had a few of those. Must have been wild times. Fantastic
parties, yeah. I mean, I met some incredible people. I met Matthew Perry. He recently, passed away from Friends. Paris Hilton and Snoop Dogg. They got us on the stage dancing with Snoop Dogg. It was an incredible time. And obviously, everyone knows now who Snoop Dogg is. He's such a lovely guy as well. And just like Hugh Hefner, he was such a gentleman, and I will forever respect him and everyone at Playboy for the love and the support and the fact that they helped me go from just a model to something more that I could never imagine. With all the work that came off the back of Playboy was absolutely incredible. Being on all the covers of all the magazines, it was amazing.
And you were on giant billboards, you were modelling for Nike, for Reebok, you're earning thousands of pounds a day.
Wow.
Absolutely like living the dream in terms of a model's lifestyle. And then things began to change. Tell us about this astonishing story. I think I saw it in The Sun. You're now in a tent in a field outside, is it, of Reading? How did that happen?
Well, I've been living in Windsor for 4 years, and I can't get back into Windsor at the moment. The rents have gone ridiculous.
What were you paying for your rent?
I was paying $550 a month, and then the landlord just turned around one day and said I need to be paying $750. And I didn't really have a proper tenancy agreement, and I looked through it and I said, oh, can we get something in writing? And he was like, oh. So in the end, I wrote a tenancy agreement out from off the internet and I got it all signed. But then he went, if you're not going to pay the extra £250 a month, then you're going to have to move out. And I was like, well, you're going to have to give me 4 weeks. I can't just move out. I've got nowhere to go. And I think he thought he could just throw me out there and then. And he said, I've got someone that's going to move in that's going to pay £700-800 a month. And I was just like, so it kind of left me in the lurch. And that actually brought on like these really heavy headaches. I was in and out of A&E for 2 weeks because I thought I was having a stroke because I was that stressed in that moment. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what to do. So the first 2 weeks of the 4 weeks, I was very, very stressed out. Like I was having these migraines and headaches, and for 2 weeks solid, they didn't go away. And then one day I went to do a promotional job, which is like your festival events. And all of a sudden I thought, this was over in Cheltenham, and I thought, I want to have to get a tent and stay in a tent because I can't afford to stay in like the hotels because by the time I've spent my money on travel and this and that. So I went and got the tent, and I thought maybe this will be the way I can go for a few months or so, and it was still summer a few months back when I became homeless. So, I got the tent and I got all the cooking equipment and what have you from the money I got from some of the jobs I did. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and be a free spirit for a bit, and I'm going to have to just do my own thing. And you know what? It was the biggest mental relief to be able to have my own space. I mean, that was so liberating, absolutely. And
it's an astonishing story, and you've been literally in the Playboy Mansion in Los Angeles to a tent in Reading. But one thing I genuinely admire about your story is that you've had approaches to do work on things like OnlyFans, and you've said you've been very, very resolutely clear that you don't want to do that. Tell us why you made that brave and astonishing decision. That would be easy money for you, but you don't want to do it because you've got principles.
It's not that it's easy money. It's a boundary I won't cross now. I mean, I did the topless and the nude back in the days, and I feel like, one, you're going to go back on yourself, and two, I feel, and I've said it before, many people I've spoken to, and many, I just know it's full of manipulative men, and it's not for me. When I did modelling, I would go and do a photo shoot, you'd get paid or however it worked, and you'd go home, and the next day you go and do another photo shoot, and you don't have to deal and talk to the guy side of it, just because you eat the cow doesn't mean you want to meet the cow. I know it's a random saying, but, this was my job. And it's a different, I think the stigma attached to it isn't great as well. But I think when the pandemic hit, a lot of people went to OnlyFans due to the fact that there was nowhere.
They were at home and they couldn't work in a studio as normal, so they would...
Yeah, like lap dancers or the babe session girl, or however it worked. Those sort of girls went to the OnlyFans. I didn't know anything about it until after lockdown, and you heard about it towards the end of lockdown. But, I don't feel like it's... I don't know, I've gained a hell of a lot of respect for myself, and I look back on the topless and nude days, and I think I was very carefree, I'd say, in my 20s, and I've just learned to love myself. I've just become a better person. I love who I've become, and I don't feel I need to go back on myself in life, if that makes sense. But I don't feel there's money there for me, because if I was going to do it, and I would let's say I was going to go to topless, no one's going to be interested in that. Or nude, like the Playboy, and they're going to want more than that, and I'm not willing to go down that route. So,
can I ask you about where life is going for you now? There's been a huge response to this, not only in terms of a huge amount of sympathy for you, you've been incredibly brave and forthright to come out, but also it's a tale, your extraordinary tale of the reflection of the cost of living crisis, how many people are struggling. What's the response been to people offered out to reach out and help you?
Oh, so many men want me to stay at the house.
Oh, dear.
Oh, you can come to mine, I'll keep you warm, and it's all fun and games. It's it's no joke. The situation is what it is. I've got my tent, I've got my setup, but I'm grateful people are being so kind and lovely, but it's not for me. I would not be taking that opportunity at all, but I really need my own space in my own way. But there's a lot of people that's reached out saying, oh my God, you're an inspiration. I can't believe you've got a tent. That's a great idea. Obviously over the summer months. And I don't know what I'm going to do next. I've not thought that far ahead. I'm just taking one day at a time. But I've had a lot of families contact me going, we're in the same situation as you, but we're staying in a shed, or, I've got kids. And I'm like, there's a lot more people out there than you think that are actually homeless. And homeless doesn't mean you need to sleep on the street and go down to the homeless, for the food and things. Homeless can be, it's under a lot of umbrellas of different people in different situations. When you make
sofa, you can be all sorts.
Exactly that. And, I have a dog business. I absolutely adore dogs since I went backpacking.
It's a dog walking business you do, right?
Yeah. So this has been my little thing for the last few years, and I've been trying to build it, and then sometimes I get somewhere with it and then I don't, and then if I go abroad and do like the backpacking, because it's a lot cheaper than living here sometimes, and I'm not very good with the cold and my bones, I've got brittle bone disease. So I turn to dogs because, I don't know, I just trust them and love them. And I think where I lost my mum and dad several years ago, I decided to go travelling, some backpacking, and because of that, I worked with a lot of rescue dogs. And then when I came back to the UK after all this backpacking, I was like, what am I going to do now? So I set up my little dog business, walking them, and sometimes I get some house sits, which is I've only had a couple this summer, which is a shame, because that could have turned this situation around for me and give me a chance to save, and it hasn't really worked out the way I was hoping it should. But I'm still in work. It's just that I'm not getting enough work with everything. So.
I'm hoping that people watching this now see that you're a wonderful person. Thanks for sharing your story. Thanks for being so brave and coming on TV. You did a great job. Thank you very much.
It was very quick. I was like, oh.
No, thank you very much. Oh, it's a pleasure to have you in the studio. Thank you. Thank you very much.